Thank you again for joining my channel. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. If you don't already know, what we are doing is we are interviewing successful business women. And while we are interviewing them, we are giving them a glammed up makeover. And we're just learning their journey to success. We're learning their successes, their triumphs, their challenges. We're just learning everything about them, how they became who they are. And we're learning all about their journey. So for my next guest, never despise the day of small beginnings because you never know where that may lead you. She started her career as a processing assistant for Meritage Homes Lender a decade ago in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. Within a year, she moved to the role of a mortgage loan processor. After that, she continuously developed in her career and kept climbing the ladder until eventually becoming a mortgage loan officer. This was not an easy journey as she overcame challenges, but also achieved goals along the way. She gained her master's in this time. She's a domestic abuse survivor and also went through a divorce. Even with all of those challenges, she now owns her own mortgage business and her own company right before her 30th birthday, really showing and proving that you can do anything that you put your mind to. Let's welcome Leah Bunning.
Thank you, Rachel.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to share your story because I have the privilege of being friends with Leah, but I am so excited for you guys to hear her journey, her story, because it is so inspiring just to hear about everything that she's overcome and everything she's accomplished. She continuously inspires me, so I know that it'll be a treat for you guys too to hear about her. So this is going to be great.
And I get my makeup done at the same time.
And
so
she gets her makeup
win-win.
done. We are going to be using today some pretty great products. So as usual, my baby, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam Palette. We're going to be using some of the warmer colors for her. She has really ivory skin, so I don't want to go too dark with her because she has that nice soft skin. So it's cool. I can actually play with some of the lighter colors in this palette. So that's nice. I also think I'm going to be playing with the Dior Backstage Glow palette. That's really fun. I was trying to get my hands on this because this is a super coveted product, but I finally did, and now I'm excited to play with this. We have the Tarte Shape Tape that we're going to be using as a concealer. And then we're going to use a MAC foundation with a LA Girl Pro Concealer. And the reason I'm doing this is because I couldn't find her exact shade in my kit. So sometimes you can mix and match, and she has like the lighter tone. So I got a lighter shade here to bring out the perfect color for her. So we're gonna get that going for her. And then a Fenty Beauty bronzer and eyelid tings. I think it's gonna give her a nice warm glow, especially we're coming to summer months. So we want her to have a beautiful glow. And last but not least, I have the Juvia's Place. They're a really great brand over at Ulta, highly recommend them. And they have this blush palette. It's their volume 2. And it has some nice oranges and whatnot, but we'll go over some more products, but I just kind of wanted to give you a synopsis of what we'll be doing. But yeah, so are you excited?
I'm so excited.
Because I know she's like over here busy working hard, so who doesn't want to have a glam session?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's time.
When you all put together, when you have like your makeup, your hair, your outfit, like you just feel like you can take on the world. So I'm here ready to take on the world.
Awesome. So we're going to start with the P. Louise base to get her eye primed and everything like that. But tell us about the beginning of your career in 2014.
Yeah.
And tell us about what does it mean to be a processing assistant? Because I'm sure some people might not know what that is. I know when I first heard about it, I wasn't sure. So kind of give us paint a picture of what that looks like, what that means, so that way everybody can understand exactly where you started.
So when I first got into the business, I actually had no intention of getting into the mortgage business. I was going to school for my undergraduate degree, and then at the same time I was working at Helzberg Diamonds and I was selling jewelry. And I had kind of gone up as far as I wanted to in the jewelry business. And so I was kind of looking for, I'm like, I wanted a backup career while I was in school for what my real career was going to be. And
What was your real career going to be?
My real career, so my degree is in business psychology, and originally I wanted to really get into HR or human resources. The psychology aspect of business fascinated me. And so at this point, I'm kind of like putting out some feelers, I'm looking for a new job. And I had a family friend who was a processing manager for a mortgage company. And she goes, "Oh, well, I need basically a paper pusher. If you want to be a paper pusher for me, I'll teach you the mortgage business." And I was like, "Okay, I'm in, let's do it." And so a processing assistant, at least where I was, you had different levels. So you had a mortgage loan processor. They're essentially the ones they connect. If you've ever bought a home, they connect the buyer, the loan officer, and the underwriter, and basically help put together the loan package.
And that's what a processor does.
That's what a processor does. Now, as a processing assistant, I helped the processors. So I was doing a lot of third-party ordering, like ordering verifications of employment, ordering verifications of rent. Nothing that required me to actually talk really to the consumer, but just helping and assisting the processors.
And on the totem pole in the mortgage business, how would you say?
Just like the low. The lowest. I hate to say the lowest is low, because one thing throughout the mortgage industry is every position is incredibly valuable. You can't do one without the other. You do need all the people that work on the loan to really make the loan. But in terms of skill set needed, it is definitely a lower skill set job.
Okay, got it. Let's dive into your life a little bit in your 2017 era. At this point, your career, you've become a processor, but you are also going through a divorce and graduated with a master's degree in that time.
Yes.
So let's talk about it.
2017 was one of the hardest years of my life. So I had moved from Arizona to North Carolina with my ex-husband. And when we moved, that is like isolation from family, from friends, because we didn't know anyone in North Carolina, escalated the abuse very significantly to a point where there really was no other option besides get out or probably die. I hate to be so gruesome with it.
But let's talk about the abuse for those that don't know your story. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I talk about it very freely. It is something that it's a part of my story. It's not who I am, but it is, I've come from it and I've overcome it. And my time within the mortgage industry is very wrapped up in this as well. But I had met this guy about a week after I graduated high school, and we got married in 2016, moved to North Carolina, got married in 2015, moved to North Carolina in 2016. And the abuse, all encompassing, so emotional, physical, sexual, all scopes of the matter. The worst probably escalation point was the first time I tried to leave. He actually ended up pulling a gun on me. So anyone who wonders why it's like, ask the question of why do people stay, that's a big reason why. As you're trying to get out, that's the most deadly and dangerous time, because it's when the abuser feels the loss of control. So we had to be very strategic in getting out. And luckily, I was blessed to have the help of family and friends and an amazing therapist too that actually was very instrumental in helping not only save my life, but help me get on the road to rebuilding it after.
That's incredible that you found that. What do you think gave you the strength in the middle of like building your career and doing all this stuff? I mean, even just to get out of that situation, like how did you?
I can actually pinpoint the deciding moment when I did, like, firmly in my heart made the choice to leave. I was talking to my best friend's mom, who is also a domestic abuse survivor, and we were on the phone talking, and I was telling her how he had pulled a gun on me, numerous death threats, and she just told me, and she goes, Leah, she says, it is only a matter of time before he follows through on what he's saying. He's already threatened you with a gun. He's already threatened your life. She goes, it's only a matter of time before he actually follows through. And she goes, it's not worth it. Staying is not worth losing your life. And I will say at the time, I thought very little of myself, but I at least thought enough of myself that I didn't want to die.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah. And that really, I know it's dark, but it's the God's honest truth. And that's what really kickstarted me to leave and on my own healing journey. I think I can't speak for everyone, but for a lot of people going through abusive situations, you know, one of the reasons I got in it and stayed in it as long as I did was because quite frankly, I hated myself, and ergo I was attracting hate into my life because that's the way I saw myself. So it wasn't until I built my own self-worth, my own sense of self-love, that anyone can truly overcome that situation.
Now, were you also through all this at the same time getting your master's degree?
Yes. Yes. I actually got my master's degree, graduated a week after I filed for divorce, after I got him out of the house.
Wow.
So, and still maintaining a career in the mortgage industry.
How did you navigate that? How did you actually find the strength to do that? To get that master's degree, to stay focused in school, to keep your career going? What did you do to make that still happen for yourself?
I would say God and family and friends, my support system. Knowing that there was people out there that truly loved me and wanted to support me. I don't know if I could have done it without the support of my family and friends. And then, you know, on a spiritual point, having God too, and really believing that one of the things I say now is that things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And while that doesn't mean you ever deserve abuse, you can learn and gain something from it. And I chose to gain resiliency from it over letting it kill me.
That's incredible. I have heard before, actually from my pastor, he has said, you know, I don't believe that God causes bad things to happen, but I do believe that he can make it all work for good.
Yeah. Well, so I've come to believe that with human emotions, we put so much emphasis on what we call positive emotions, happiness, joy, love, and we just disregard bad emotions, pain, heartbreak, anguish. But God made all emotions, and all emotions are important, and all emotions have a purpose. And I think in pain and painful emotions, there is so much to learn from it. You know, we spend so much time running from it, but if we allow it to come in and sit with us and teach us, it can do amazing things that our happy or our positive emotions can't teach us.
Yeah, it's those experiences, and that also makes you appreciate the good times too.
Oh yeah, I will say, interesting point. So when you come face to face, again, I can't speak for everyone, when I came face to face with death, the whole world is much prettier than it used to be.
Well, I think you look at it a different way, right?
Mm-hmm. When you realize it could be over like that, you appreciate it so much more.
Mm-hmm. I could see that, totally. Now, when you were doing your healing process in 2018, when you moved to Sarasota,
Yes.
tell us about that. What did your job title look like in 2018 when you moved to Sarasota?
So when I came to Sarasota, I was still a processor for just a little bit longer. It was actually pretty cool how I ended up here. I was processing for a team in Sarasota, Florida, and they went to go to a different company and called me up, and they're like, we love working with you so much. You know, we want you to be our in-house processor. We're going to pay you to move down here to Florida. And I was like, why not? Why not? Let's do another adventure. Let's go. So came down here to Florida, another out-of-state move, and luckily my dad was actually here, not in Sarasota, but in Florida. So I did have some family, and then just started a new life again. It was wonderful. So I was a processor for about my first year here, and then that's when I made the switch over to a loan officer assistant.
So why did you want to switch over to a loan officer assistant?
So I was getting bored with being a processor, to be quite frank. It just felt like I was doing the same thing all day, every day. And I wanted to do something more. I wanted to like test my boundaries. Also, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot more money to potentially be made on the sales side of the mortgage business. But I didn't want to just jump into the sales side because it's also 100% commission. I wanted to learn it a little bit more. So I thought being a loan officer assistant would be a great way to start learning that side of the business.
And getting more involved.
But you still have a base pay, so you're not like completely going out on your own.
So you're not completely ripping the Band-Aid off, is what you're saying.
It was like the start of ripping the Band-Aid off.
The beginning of the beginning.
The beginning of the beginning.
Now, when you started to switch to the loan officer side of things to the sales side, what were you feeling?
Terrified. So, especially because when I made the full jump to being a loan officer, it was right in the heart of the lockdown. So it was March, April 2020 when everything was shut down. Not only was I making the jump from, a salary position to 100% commission, I was also going to move all the way across the state from Sarasota to West Palm Beach, and I was going to do it someplace where I didn't know a soul. I remember I was actually talking to my boss, and I was like, well, maybe I can still assist a little bit while I'm trying to get my business built up. And she just looked at me and she's like, no. And I look at her and I was like, what do you mean no? And she goes, no. She's like, you want to be a loan officer? Go be a loan officer. And I just started crying. She goes, why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm just scared.
Aww.
I was so scared. But you know what? Courage is not an absence of fear. Courage is doing it despite fear.
Right.
So you can't be courageous if you don't have fear. And
so what do you think gave you the courage to just say yes, to take that leap?
I think I was just ready. There was some things that had happened here while I was living in Sarasota, and I think I was ready for that next stage of life, that next leap. And I was like, you know what? We can do it. And, I know my work ethic, and we're going to make it work. And if we don't, we'll figure it out. I have family and friends that love me and care about me that, they're not going to let me homeless on the street. So I knew even if I failed at it, I was still going to have support. Why not? Just be terrified and let's do it.
I feel like a common theme that I keep hearing throughout this whole time of us talking right now is that you continuously refer back to your support network and how important it is to have a support network.
I don't know how people do it without a support network. My family, my friends, my loved ones, they mean the absolute world to me.
So it sounds like you're pretty intentional about who you're putting into that group.
I am now. We learned that lesson. So when I was married, in a lot of abusive relationships, control is a big thing. So I wasn't really allowed to have friends. And if I did, it was a fight. It was awful. So when I got out of that marriage, I was like, friends? What do you mean, friends? I want to be friends with everyone. And I learned.
So you went to the other extreme.
I went to the other extreme. And my life lesson those couple years after the divorce was, no, maybe we don't want to be friends with everyone.
I'm sure you felt like you got burned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So learning now, we are much, much more intentional with the people we let into our lives, especially people we let in close.
Oh, yeah, totally.
How am I looking?
So far, you're looking good. It's all a work in process, though, so we will have the grand reveal at the end.
Can't wait.
Yes. Now, I do have to brag on Leah just a little bit because from what I understand, you're in the top percentile of loan officers. Now, is that in Florida?
In the top 25 percentile of loan officers in the country for both closed units and volume.
Leah, hearing about, just think about where she started. She started at the bottom of the bottom, and now she's just taking risks and taking that chance on herself. And now she's in the top 25 percentile.
Yeah. And I just opened my own company 3 weeks ago.
So there's a lot happening in your world.
There's a lot happening in the world.
Can you delve, and you don't have to share all of your secrets, but what do you think your secret is? What is your secret to success? What puts you in that bracket? What has put you there?
Putting other people first. So as a loan officer, I have also lost business because I think of my integrity. Look, in the mortgage business, it is very easy to manipulate people. It's confusing. Numbers are confusing. You can very easily move numbers around to make things look a certain way. It's very easy to do bait and switch to quote unquote win people over. And I refuse to do that. I'm very honest. I'm a very honest, upfront loan officer, and I'm going to tell you how it is, and I'm going to take my time and do it right. And even though that's a little bit of a longer play, I think that is what's led to the success, is ultimately just caring about people. Their home is probably going to be the biggest purchase of their life. It's also their shelter, maybe where they'll raise their family. You don't know what other stories people have going on when it comes to their home. And
absolutely,
having someone who cares and isn't there just to make a buck off of them. I think that ultimately is what
it shows through.
Success. Mm-hmm.
I think because people can read another person, so when they know that you genuinely have their best interest at heart, they can totally pick up on that.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Now, when did you find out that you became in the top 25%? Was that something that just happened recently, or?
Yeah, so I found out in March. The company I was, and I'm not gonna say which company because I don't think that's polite, but I was with a company previously. Let's just say business was not done in the same ethical manner that I choose to conduct business. And there was many promises made to me that started getting taken away, and there was a lot of manipulation and lies. And one of those things was, one of the final straw cutting things was that they wanted to severely cut my pay, very severely. And so I had done some digging and research because I wanted to put something together as to why I deserved to be paid what I was being paid. And that's when I found out about the percentiles, and I went through and I added up all of my closed units and all the volume that I had closed over the last 12 months. And that's when I found out that I was.
So you discovered this on your own?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't get like a letter or something in the mail.
No.
That's what I would think. Like, hey, congratulations, you're awesome.
Yeah, nope, just found it on my own because one of the, in life, whether you are a male or female, but I think especially a lot of females can relate to this, where you got to fight for what you're worth. Men do it all the time, right? There's many reasons why there's a pay discrepancy between men and women. And I believe one of the many reasons, because I do think there's many, is that men are more likely to fight for what they
deserve.
And so ultimately,
they're a little bit more bold, not as like, oh, will this hurt their feelings, or I hope this doesn't.
Yeah. So that's what I did. You know, when my pay was getting attacked, I know my worth now. So I went on a digging spree to make sure I could put together something, you know, rather than just saying to my bosses, no, don't do that, I'm worth
You had
that.
to have the evidence.
I wanted the evidence. So I was like, I went, did my research, here's the evidence. Here's where I'm at, here's how I rank up, here's what I've done for the company. Also, was not afraid to get an attorney involved as well in this matter. So to all you other females out there, don't be afraid to get an attorney involved if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, or if you just need someone else to kind of help back you up there. Well worth
it. Well said. And on that note, we're going to take a small break. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of liner on her, pop some lashes on, do some of the base makeup, and then we will come back and finish up this amazing, insightful interview that we've been having so far. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back. So we went ahead, we added some finishing touches. We did the foundation. We did a nice concealer underneath, the Tarte Shape Tape in Fairlight Neutral. That looks really nice with her, just to brighten her up a little bit and get rid of some of the purple that was underneath. And then we added the bronzer just to give her a little bit of sculpt, and then some lips, some mascara. We used the tubing mascara because it's anti-smudge, so that prevents any smudging down here, which is super nice. So yeah, we got the lips going. We used the Anastasia Beverly Hills in Coral. So this is a nice color for her. And then we are going to now add just some highlighter on her. We're gonna dust her with the Dior Backstage Glow palette that we had talked about earlier. We're gonna add that to her. So now going back to you, Leah.
Yes.
You had talked about, now she owns, from this whole journey, she now just recently launched her mortgage company right before her 30th birthday, which is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Oh, excited. Some days still kind of terrified, because let me tell you, when you open your own company, all you see is cha-ching, 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 but not in the way you would like want it to initially. There's a lot of startup costs and things like that. And I officially opened about 3 weeks ago, but in terms of like getting loans in, we just started getting loans in. It usually takes 30 days to close, you know, so essentially you're going on, by the time I quit my last job till opening, this is a couple months of no paychecks, but you have a lot of startup costs. So it's a little scary, but it's really exciting. It's been nice to create something from the ground up and run it how I think it should be run, how I think all mortgage companies should be run. And now I get to run mine that way.
And you can run it the way you want and have the integrity and all of that. So what does your company stand for?
So my company is all about honesty, transparency in lending. Also really giving a focus to inclusion of everyone. So we didn't touch on it a whole lot today, but one of the big things within the mortgage industry is that more than you would like to think, there is definitely sexual discrimination or sexual assault that occurs within the mortgage industry. And I also really wanted to create a safe space and a safe company where women, LGBTQ, and really just anyone though that's looking for a safe space to just come and work and grow their business can be. So that's what my company stands for.
And I do want to mention that throughout all of this with Leah, she is also a fashionista.
Yes, very much so.
She finds time to be a fashion guru. I love watching her stuff. Like, what inspires you in your fashion? Let's talk a little bit about
the fashion.
As a businesswoman, we want you got to look good. You look good, you feel good.
Yeah, you do. I said that at the beginning too. You look good, you feel good. So for me, fashion, I'd say that I've always been into it, but unfortunately, it is a wee bit of an expensive hobby. So as my career grew, my style and wardrobe grew with it because I definitely came into some more funds, which allowed me to finance my habit a little bit more.
Totally.
So to me, fashion is just an extension of your personality. It's art. It's a way to express how you feel on the inside, on the outside. So every morning when I'm actually picking out my wardrobe, I pick based on my mood, which is why I always overpack for trips.
Always. I mean, who packs for exactly what you need? If I pack exactly what I need, I'm like, I never have enough.
Exactly. And the day it comes to wear that outfit, I might not be feeling that outfit because I picked it on a different day when I was feeling differently. So
I can totally understand.
Yes, I use fashion as an outward expression, or if I want to change how I feel on the inside, like if I'm feeling kind of down, but I want to feel powerful, then I'll probably put on like a power suit or something that will help elicit the feelings that I want to be portraying.
Well, Leah, you are amazing. Thank you so much for coming on to the show today. You look beautiful. You're already beautiful, so it was an easy canvas to work with. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Yes.
Give them all the plugs, all the socials, website, everything.
So I actually make it really easy. The name of my company is super catchy. It is Lending Leah. Lending Leah, super easy. So the website, www.lendingleah.com. That is my Instagram handle. All my social media is at Lending Leah. Leah spelled Leah. So that's where you can find me. Email is leah.bunning, which is my last name, like running, but with a B as in boy instead of an R, at lendingleah.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. You are an inspiration to us all. I hope that you all feel encouraged, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode with our next guest. Thanks, guys.